Hello, shalom and God richly bless you. This is Lady Apostle Diana Edu. You are about to watch the ceremony of my consecration service, which took place in the city of Brescia in the year 2014, 27th of September 2014. It was Yom Kippur Day. Now, as I was reflecting on showing for the first time the full video of the consecration, I was led to do this short introduction. Why? The reason is that what you're going to watch goes beyond a ceremony. And why do we even have a consecration ceremony? Anybody can just call people together and have a consecration ceremony. And therefore I wanted to recount to you my journey with the Lord, how I was called into ministry. What you're going to watch is for humans, as my former bishop used to say. You're going to be ordained, you're going to be consecrated, but God called you from your mother's womb. It's a call you receive from God. But the consecration is important because you live in a community. They didn't see God nor hear God when God called you. So this is a formal recognition among your community. So anybody can have a consecration ceremony, but it begins with a call. And I'm led for the first time to recount bits of my calls that I think you should know to you, so that when you watch the ceremony, you know that this is not just a gathering, but a call that is being presented to my community. So as Jeremiah says, God tells Jeremiah, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. And I believe that is my call. My mom nearly aborted me on the day that I was to be born. Yeah. And she tells me that when I was young, they would wear me a white shirt, a big white shirt, and they would bring people for me to lay my hands on them. So that is the stories that my mom used to tell me after I had been ordained. Actually, I am a daughter of a priest, and my father used to be an African initiated church priest until he became born again and annexed and gave his church, his building, to the Christian faith in Effiekuma now. So I don't know if it is hereditary or it is a priestly call, like the Levites and the priests who were called, and their children and their children. I don't know about that, but I know that I was called. Now, the first time I had an encounter with the Lord was in our house in Italy, Brescia, Castel Mela. Maybe the Lord had come to me several times like Samuel, but I never recognized it. Even though you can't imagine, I was teaching Bible class right at the age of 13. I was teaching Bible class. I was the choir leader, praise and worship leader. I was everything in church, but I didn't know the Lord. I was just practicing religion, and I loved Jesus. Then I became born again. I was an SU member. Then I went to Italy to join my husband, Apostle Nanabaini. And in this space, I was just lying in our hall, and I saw a smoke fill our living room. And the living room was with a kitchen. Then I saw an angel with a stick. Then he hit our stove, and fire came out of our stove. And the angel said, I am touching your lips. You are going to say what people would not want to hear, and they are going to attack you. But I have called you. Within that week, I had a vision about the rapture. I saw Jesus nearly dropping me at Effiekuma, and I said, but you can't be taking everyone and leave me. And that was my first encounter of seeing Jesus. And Jesus said, preach, but be sure you are not left out. And Jesus picked me, and I was raptured with the Lord. And so I was very, very, very aggressive in my worship. I loved Jesus. I was attacked from all sides. but I still loved Jesus. I was not a pastor. I was a choir leader. I used to have gospel. I used to produce gospel songs. And one day I was going to sell my gospel CDs. And then a lady comes, because the church we were going to, we got lost. We couldn't find our way. So we were standing at Modena train station. Modena is a city in Brescia. And the lady knocks on our car. We had a minivan because we used to travel a lot. We were like itinerant missionary preachers. We have combed every city in Brescia. And we said, no, we're going to the Church of Pentecost somewhere. And then he said, no, I'm late in my church. The church is closed. Can you take me? So we taking the lady to the church. The lady introducing us to their pastor. The pastor comes and says, can you sing in our church? And after singing, the pastor saying, I travel a lot. I would like to take you and your wife, because I was with Apostle Baini, you and your wife to Naples. I'm ministering there. He takes us to Naples. Whilst I minister, the bishop comes and said, you are a woman of God. I see you preaching. And I laughed. And I said, what is this? Who is even going to listen to me? And in the year 2002, December, 31st December, Apostle Baini and I were ordained. He was ordained as the pastor, and I was ordained as the co-pastor. Because of my music, I used to move a lot. And I kept doing my itinerary work until the same Nigerian pastor calls me and says, God says I should leave my church to you. But you're not a pastor, your husband is a pastor. So I'm giving my church to your husband. And that is where the pastoral ministry. So we left Mount Calvary Holy Church of America, where we were ordained in 2002, and had our own church. So my husband used to travel all the way to Perugia, from Brescia to Perugia, doing God. So just to go and preach, just to go and pastor and return. And it's a long journey. It's close to Rome, very long. And so I was still a co-pastor, because we're celebrating the 11th anniversary of my consecration as an apostle, or into the apostolic office. And these are just sporadic of the journey that I want to share with you. And I love God, and I was a social worker. I'm the first Ghanaian Italian journalist in my city, Brescia. And I saw the huge work that pastors were doing, unrecognized by the community, and decided to bring the community and the church together. And I started with this award, inviting the community to be recognized. And so through the awards, I decided to have a Bible school, and many women had joined, and that is where the attack began. I was loved as the first black journalist. People would need my help, but immediately I started training women. I was warned, I was cursed, any way to silence me, but the Lord was faithful, and many women, many men were thought and groomed into the work of the ministry, among whom are many who are doing so well. So after God coming to my home in Castamella, we had moved to Brescia at a place called Via Livorno. And one day I was on my knee praying, and I see an angel walk into the room. And the angel said, the toilet or your water, your bathroom water is overflowing. And I said, what has this got to do with me? And immediately I felt the presence of God in my room. And the Lord said, I am calling you into the apostolic office. This is what actually Apostle Abel would say when I was called into the apostolic office. Apostle Abel said, this lady has always been doing apostolic work. And this is the truth, because our ministry was to the Italians, and God used us mightily to witness to the Italians. So we started an Italian church, and every year we had an Italian gospel concert through which we preached Jesus. And so God said she was calling me into the apostolic office, but I should raise many women with me. It's no wonder that I'm now a womanist theologian developing a Bisanana Abrewa hermeneutics as a PhD, my PhD research. And through this, I have been harassed, threatened. I'm talking about humans, both men and women, have tried to silence me. But the Lord, like Paul, has always been with me. The Lord, like Jeremiah, has always been with me. In the year 2021, I had a near-death experience. Now, the bed I was lying on was practically shaken. And I saw Jesus. In that period of this near-death experience, Jesus appeared to me 4 good times. And in all these times, Jesus was doing warfare. At one time, I saw Jesus open his hands and fire come out of his hands. I had never seen anything like that in scripture until one day I was preaching. I saw in Habakkuk that Jesus, God's hands, he says, beams of rays, and it is interpreted as fire comes out of your hands. So without any shadow of doubt, I know I have been called. Without any shadow of doubt, I could never do this work of the ministry if the Lord was not with me. For it has never been by power, never been by... In Italy, where black people are treated as animals, I would call for a gathering. And Italians, white Italians, and they were supportive of the ministry financially, morally, in every side, they were there for me. This is just God. And therefore, as I celebrate this 11th anniversary, I want my testimony to encourage you if you've been called by God. For the battle is not to the strong. The bread, finances, is not to man. But as time and chance happens to us all, do not let Jesus pass you by. Do not overlook the call of God on you because they say you are a woman or you are black or you are whatever. Paul had his encounter and nobody could take it away from him. When he was mocked and some said he was not an apostle, Paul had to talk about his experience. And that is what I'm doing to encourage you. So as we go to watch the consecration ceremony, look beyond that and see what the Lord can do to a woman, a black woman living in the diaspora. Shall we go to watch? And God richly bless you.